Hi! In today's video I'm going to show you step by step how to sew the dungarees. This video goes hand in hand with a detailed PDF guide and pattern that you can download from the link in the description. You can sew the dungarees in 10 different children's sizes. Today I will be sewing dungarees in the size for a 3 to 4-year-old child. You'll find the pattern assembly instructions in the guide. Each size is marked with a different type and color of line. The number crosshairs in the corners show which page should be next to, below or diagonal to another. Each pattern piece is marked with a number and a description. Print the first page in A4 size and measure the test square before cutting the fabric to ensure the scale is correct. Cut the gray border around each page and match the pages to the numbered crosshairs. Tape them together. The numbered crosshairs also help you align and overlap the pages during assembly. Cut out each of the patterns. There are many different fabrics that will work for this project. Natural fabrics are the best choice. Fold one edge of the fabric in half toward the center. The right side of the fabric should be inside. The pattern layout plan shows how to pin the pattern pieces to the fabric to save as much fabric as possible. Make sure the arrow on the pattern lines up with the straight grain of the fabric. Outline the patterns with chalk or a disappearing marker for sewing. Pin each piece to the fabric according to the pattern layout plan. The patterns do not have a seam allowance of 1 cm. It's very important to add an extra 1 cm to each piece. Cut out the pieces. Finish the edge of the front of the trousers. Use an overlock, serger machine or zigzag stitch to finish the edges. In the diagram, you can see which edge should be finished at this stage. It's marked in blue. Finish the edge of the back of the trousers. In the video, I always show the process on the side of the piece, but if the piece is symmetrical, you need to repeat the same steps on the other side. Finish the edge of the front pocket C. Finish the edge of the back pocket C. Finish the edges of the facing of back pocket C. Finish the edges of the facing of the back trousers. We'll start sewing with pocket A. Mark the fold line on the cut piece. Next, fold the pocket along the fold line. Roll up the edge and sew across the top. Iron the seam. Start sewing the top part by folding the sides twice. Pin them in place. Sew close to the edge. Next, fold the top edge twice and stitch it. Iron the seam. Place the paper pattern on the sewn top piece. Position pocket A on the pattern and pin it in place. Remove the paper pattern. Fold the edges of the pocket and sew close to them. Next, sew pocket A again, 1 cm from the previous seam. Place the two waistband pieces right sides together. Insert the top part between them in the middle. Sew the waistbands to the top. Iron the seam. Sew pockets B in a similar way to pocket A. Mark the fold line on the cut piece. Fold pocket B along the fold line. Roll up the edge and sew across the top. Iron the seam. Place pockets B on the back pieces of the trousers, using the paper pattern as a guide. Pin the pockets, fold the edges and sew them onto the back pieces. Then stitch the pockets again about 1 cm from the previous seam. Pin the front of pocket seam to the front of the trousers, right side together, sew the edge. Turn the pieces wrong sides together and iron the seam. Place the back of pocket seam right sides together with the front of pocket seam. Pin the pocket pieces together and sew. Next, use an overlock, serger or zigzag stitch to finish the edge. Repeat the steps for the pocket on the other side of the trousers. Pin the facing of back pocket C to sewn piece, right side together, and sew. Turn the facing and iron the seam. Sew together the top of pocket C, the facing, and the front of the trousers. Place the front pieces of the trousers right side together, pin and sew the edges. Finish the edges with an overlock, serger, or zigzag stitch. Place the top with the waistbands right sides together with the front of the trousers. Unfold the waistband, mark the center, pin it, and sew the front part of the waistband to the front part of the trousers. Fold in the edges of the back waistband. Pin and sew all around the waistband. Make sure the seam on the other side is also on the waistband. Place the facing of the back trousers right sides together with the back pieces. Sew along the facing. Turn the facing and press the seam. Fold the top edge of the back of the trousers twice. Pin and sew. Repeat for the other back piece. Iron the seam. Place the back parts of the trousers right sides together with the front parts. Make sure the top of the back aligns with the waistband. Pin the edges and sew. Iron the seam. For the trousers, place the back piece right sides together, pin and sew. Then finish the edge with an overlock, serger or zigzag stitch. Iron the seam. Sew the inner edges of the front and back on the trousers on both sides. Finish the edges. Iron the seam. Fold the hems of the legs by about 3 cm. Fold the edge again. Pin and sew. Iron the seam. Pin each strap right sides together. Sew the edges, leaving an opening at the bottom. Trim the top corners of the straps. Be careful not to cut the stitches. Turn each strap right side out. And top stitch close to the edge. Iron the seam. Attach the straps to the top of the back of the trousers. Pin and sew them on. Place the facing on the top back of the trousers, right sides together, and sew along as shown. Turn the facing. Fold in the edges and sew all around the facing. Iron the seam. Mark the buttonhole placements, one on the waistband and one on the pocket. Repeat on the other side of the trousers. On each strap also, mark the buttonhole length equal the button's diameter, 2 cm from the edge and 1.5 cm apart. You can use a buttonhole foot if you have one. I prefer to use it because the machine automatically adjusts the stitch width and length. If you don't have a buttonhole foot, you can sew the buttonhole with a zigzag stitch. Start on the left side using a narrow zigzag stitch with a short length. Sew down to the mark for the bottom bar tag. Set the stitch length to 0 and width to the maximum to make the bar tag. To sew the right side, switch back to a narrow zigzag and sew up to the top mark. Again, set the length to 0 and the width to maximum to create the top bar tag. Finally, carefully cut open the buttonhole without cutting the stitches. The last step is sewing the buttons. 2 buttons on the top front part and 2 buttons on each side of the back of the trousers. And that's it! You've just made the Dungarees, all handmade by you. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, subscribe and check out the description below for the pattern and instructions. See you soon!